Morning gang, so another big weekend, and this is going to be the theme of the beginning of this year. Like I said, with Hollywood Hills, kind of a slow burner to start things out with, and then you get around about halfway through February, it starts to get real busy. So this weekend we had the WFO down in Natal, we had a round of the Africa Off-Road Championship up at Lichtenburg, we had the Port Elizabeth Sandpit for the first round of the motocross national championships. There was just so much going on, real busy. So let's get straight into it. So WFOs, it's always going to be the Natal boys that really show good down there. They've really got in tune with that format of racing, and it was Flanny that got the win going, and he was closed down at the end there by Slater as well, and Hayden Lowe in third place. So WFOs starts to get us ready as we build up towards the national championships, and the opening round of the national championships not too far away as well. So probably about 3 or 4 weeks away from the opening round for the national enduros. So Flanny and Slater, and Hayden Lowe for that matter, in good shape for now. For the Africa Off-Roads, probably one of the busiest tours at the moment as well. You know, they're already in their second round of the season. They run 12 events, but 11 venues on the year. Gideon Jacobs starting to become extremely dominant there, as well as all the events that he races on the GXCC tour. He took another win, but it's an old GXCC pal of ours, Vion Van Sale, who actually ran good numbers. He's come off the Yamaha, he's onto the KTM in 2019, and he's definitely going to be a big threat. He used to be able to really run some good pace as well on the old Yami, so good to see him hassling onto the back wheel. But 421 Racing, the big dog, once again, Jacobs taking the win up at the second round. So that actually means for Gideon Jacobs, only been beaten once this whole season, and that was at the opening round of the Africa Off-Roads, where he had a mechanical problem on his quad. Anyway, so that was the second round of the Africa Off-Roads up in Lichtenburg. So that's us covered. Motocross, Matty Milan in the sandpit, of course. Caleb Tennant, he's going to cross to stateside, so he's going to be racing in the US the whole way through 2019. He walked away double trouble last year. He took the championships in MX1 and MX2, so it was always going to be an open playing field. Tristan Purton's moved across to the factory KTM squad after years on Yamaha. He got a number 2 finish. Goose is coming back from a lot of off-season operations, so he's not in the best shape. He still walked away with a number 3 finish in MX1. That's the big banger category. And it was a return to form also in Ryder, coming back from some injuries. He was pretty much out most of the way through last year, and really came good, and that's Matty Milan. So Matty Milan walks away with a red plate coming out of Cape Town. I think their next round is actually to Zone 7 in Cape Town, so you'll see a couple of the Cape Town kids really start to shine like Reynard. But for now, Husqvarna's own big dog, and the new big dog as well, he seems to be in really good shape, and as long as his old injuries don't come into play and affect him, Matty Milan will be the man to watch as he goes forward into the rest of the motocross season. Nice little fun story. One of our good pals down in Cape Town, I've always been on Husqvarna's for the last couple of years, and I think when we come into the National Enduro Series, he's definitely going to be a key player to watch out for. He's already started winning races down in Cape Town on their regional front, and when we get into the full national calendar, he's definitely going to be a big threat. A late signing for the Drumas Yamaha squad, so coming off Husky for many years onto Yamaha, Brendan Smith gets onto blue, so that's a big change up. It's going to take him a long time to get on with that bike as well. We've seen that with a lot of guys that have changed across the board, but he has been a smoker for the majority of his time on the Husqvarna. So he did a little bit of time on the 4-stroke last year, didn't enjoy it though. So Drumas Yamaha late season pickup, welcome Brendan Smith. So that's a wrap of just a few things that went down this weekend, and a little bit of news highlighting a couple of new signings. We've also got a new signing here at Hollywood Hills, so great to welcome on board Black Iron Racing as our now 4th sponsor. So that's great, it's good news for us here at Hollywood. We should be able to bring you a better product as we go through the year and cover more events as well. A little bit more news topics as well as we go along. So Black Iron Racing really coming into play, literally just getting everything sorted out. I think the ink was still wet on the shirts going forward into the first round of the GXCCs. And we're going to just do a quick run through and tell you who's actually going to be on the line for these guys, who's going to be running the colours, and whereabouts they're going to be. Predominantly, they're going to be running most of their numbers in the GXCCs, and they have got a couple of riders that are rock hoppers. Excuse me. They have got a couple of riders that are rock hoppers as well, and they're going to be covering a couple of events like the EWXCs, low felt enduros, and possibly towards the end of the year, the Impies and the Roof of Africa. So let's get into it. Here's the shopping list. So it's going to be a nice presence for the Black Iron Racing squad on the junior gate. They've got a 50cc rider, they've got a couple of 85cc's. So on the 50cc's, DeAndre Swat is going to be the hero to watch out for there. Great to see the development coming in so early, and a team that's willing to pick up a 50cc rider means that they really mean business. They're going to be in it for a long haul. No 65s at the moment, but watch out for a signing, and Swat no doubt will jump up to 65s next year. Doesn't take the guys long to really get used to those 50cc's. Then they want to get onto the gearbox. 85cc category going to be covered for the junior and the senior category. So Chandre Vermark is going to be doing the honors for the juniors, and the senior category will be handled by Nicole Duplessis, and she's got a good racing name behind her as well, and great support in the pits from mum and dad. Then a story that we already touched on last week when we covered the category breakdown from the opening round of the GXCCs. The Peterson sisters look more dominant this year than they have done in years gone by, and now they've got a real strong platform and backing from Black Iron Racing. That's going to allow them to just take a little bit of pressure off. They'll maybe have a little bit of extra money, financial support and pit support that's going to help them dominate the GXCC's ladies category. They already locked out the podium at the opening round, but watch out for them in motocross, on the national front, on regionals, as well as the motocross of African nations. So Annika, Janka, and Karika Petersen, absolute killers on the gate, and I'm tagging them, not counting mechanicals that is, to be able to lock out every single podium on the GXCCs. We have seen improvements on their motocross riding skills as well throughout the years, so I think they're going to be really, really strong, and they are one of the kind of like parts of the glue that is holding this brand new Black Iron Racing squad together. Used to commentate on this guy for many, many years, then he went missing, he's back into racing, he's picked up the deal with the squad, he's on the OR2 gate. Welcome back, Jean Vilking, and this is a real good score as well, because like we've seen with a lot of these comeback riders, they bring back a lot of the old school riding, they've got a lot of experience to offer the rest of the junior category and their stable mates within the squad. So Jean Vilkin, a great pickup for the OR2 gate. Vian Duplessis has been on the senior gate for the GXCCs as well as the national off-roads and a couple of enduros along the way for the last few seasons. He steps out of the QCon squad, and it's great to see him really find his feet. He's now going to be the #1 rider on the gate for the senior category for the Black Iron Racing squad, and he is more than a massive threat on the seniors. He took a ton of podiums last year, and he's looking to start to climb that ladder and get a couple of wins under his belt as well. So Vian, your senior rider, predominantly on the GXCC and off-road front. Then onto the rock hopping side of the squad. So this is going to give them extra coverage out there as well, not just hitting the off-road side, but also the enduro and extreme enduro events. So on the club side, Rob McAlpine has been around for quite a long time. He's made a name for himself racing in the club category, and he's going to be joined in the club category by Corne Swats. These guys will go out and race the low-felt enduros, and that's not to be sniffed at. The low-felt enduros have become some of the toughest rides and races out there at the moment. The opening round, I think the guys are still recovering from that one. EWXC as well, they're all grouped in the early part of the year, which allows the rock hoppers to then focus in on the low-felt enduros and obviously impies and roof towards the end. So Corne Swats, a new racer on the season, and he's going to be very much looked after by Rob McAlpine as they go out there and tackle the big mountains. Clayton Codd will be in the pits with them as well. A high school racer, starting to find his pace and his feet, and it's still a lot of learning to be done, but Codd is going to be on the high school gate representing for Black Iron Racing team, and he's also going to be up there at the low felts, the EWXCs and the extreme events. Hopefully he can make a trip down and try and test his mettle against some of the KZN boys down there. That's really where a lot of the talent does come from, and where a lot of riders from Joburg and up on the high felt do tend to go down to see if they can get themselves better. But Codd is the last rider in the lineup queue for a very powerful looking Black Iron Racing squad. So isn't that cool? Great to introduce a new squad, but with some old names and familiar faces on it as well, and a very, very thick talent pool going to be coming through the queue. I'm really expecting to see some good results coming in from the Black Iron Racing guys and girls, but the main thing is, it's just great to see cohesion, new sponsors and partners coming in, and brand new riders getting brought in to mix up with the experience that already are hanging out in the pits. So Black Iron Racing Squad, good luck to you guys. We'll be keeping an eye on all of the riders, and also it's great to welcome them with open arms here as a new partner and sponsor for Hollywood Hills.
The 424 guys also have a fun ride coming up in the month of March, pretty early as well, 9th of March. Most of the guys should have an open weekend, so if you fancy taking the wife, the kids, everyone is welcome. It's going to be kids, quads and bike friendly. That's on the 9th of March, and that's going to be the Wonderfontein Bike Day, run by 424. The price is 150 per rider, and the loop is just under 80 kilometers. Should be a fun day.
All right, so always this part of the show when we say what's coming up. Well, literally this weekend, a brand new layout of the classic race format of farm jams. So they finally get to dust themselves off. They've been waiting, really making sure that there's a good gap in the calendar. 2nd of March, first racing weekend of a brand new month. Now that we are finishing up with the month of love, February, so farm jam. They've pretty much flattened all of the enduro cross section of the track, so they've opened it up into more of a motocross setup. That's going to be in the foreground. I don't know how much of that they're going to use for the brand new layout of the farm jam loop. We're expecting to see about a 30 to 35 kilometer loop. We should see really good entries based upon how much of a following the farm jam guys have. They've very much based themselves very well in the calendar as well, around about 3 weeks before the next round of the GXCCs. That should give the guys a nice good gap. We're expecting to see all the top racers on 2 wheels, 4 wheels, and all the juniors. So I'm going to be up there on the mic. I'm dead excited about it as well. I've been working with the farm jam guys for a couple of seasons. In a way, I'm sad to see the FJX or the farm jam enduro cross go down in flames, but unfortunately they just weren't getting the numbers, so I totally understand. They've gone back to the cross-country format, the hare scrambles, so it's going to be really fun to be up there on the mic, and I'm really looking forward to seeing those guys. Hopefully you guys can make it up there, and this does, like I say, fit in really nicely with you guys that are out there racing for national off-roads and GXCCs, as well as the 424 cross-country championship racing series. It means you're going to be nice and busy, and you shouldn't get too tight and slow and seize up. Try and get a race in every other weekend at least. So that's coming up this weekend. Exactly 2 weeks after that is the second round of the GXCCs. Again, a classic race venue, Falkville. So we know what it's like at Falkville. We should be finished with the late season rains. Even if we're not, Lawrence is really good at finding the tracks that don't hold water too badly. And if last weekend's event is anything to go by, you know, we knew that that was actually going to be a bog, and there was probably only about 3 mud bogs in it. The rest of the track was absolutely prime. So that's coming up in 2 weeks' time after the farm jam. And then right at the end of the month on the 30th, a new venue and a new date for the second round of the 424 race series. So I've been working with Johnny Horsforth up there. The former Ride for Damien series is now fully fledged. The first round was a bit of a rough track, lots of rocks and caused a lot of punches. This is going to be a brand new track. It's going to be a little bit easier as far as the layout goes, much more soft soil, so we're working with the lowlands, and a little bit more forest, so a completely different farm, and we will be sending you some information on that. Should be next week to tell you exactly what kind of terrain you guys are in for. But 3 really, really big events coming up in March, not to mention the fact that it will be the opening round of the National Enduros. That's going to be done in KZN on the 23rd. Looks like I'm going to be trying to hustle my way down there, just to make sure that I've got my finger on the pulse, and that's the fun part about having a couple extra sponsors and partners coming on with Hollywood Hills, an event that I wouldn't normally be able to get to. Should be able to make a plan. For now, we're going to leave you with that. I know it's been busy ones to start off the season, but we seem to be in our flow now, so almost finished with my second, or actually third cup of coffee for the day. You guys have a great week, and next week I'll report back on what went down in the opening round of Farm Jam. Cheers.